The city breathed in the rhythm of rain. Cars hissed across wet streets, their reflections bleeding into pools of light. From his apartment window, Ayo stood motionless, the phone cold in his palm, the storm outside a faint echo of the one inside him. Then, the phone lit up her name. Teni calling. The sound alone was enough to shake something buried. His thumb hovered. He hadn't heard her voice in months, yet somehow, he had never stopped listening for it. He answered. Teni. Her silence filled the space between raindrops. On the other end, she sat inside her small car, parked near the bridge, hair damp, dashboard light painting her face gold. Hi, she said at last, her voice breaking like the sky above her. He remembered the cafe in Lagos where she first spilled her laughter into his life, her bracelets clinking, sunlight in her eyes. That day, he'd given her one more bracelet, a small silver one, saying, something to remember me by. He didn't know she actually would. Now, that same bracelet gleamed faintly in her trembling hand. She stared at it as if it were proof that memories could still hurt. Why tonight? He asked finally, voice low. I don't know, she whispered. Maybe because silence got too loud. Thunder cracked in the distance. He smiled faintly, though it ached. You still hide behind poetry. You still hide behind pride, she said softly. Ayo laughed quietly, the first sound of warmth in months. But even that faded fast. At a quiet bar across town, Leke, his longtime friend, watched Ayo from across the table. The drink between them sat untouched. You're chasing ghosts, Leke said. Ayo didn't respond. He only looked at his phone again, the name still glowing like temptation. Minutes later, Ayo left. Rain wrapped around him like a question he couldn't answer. Teni sat still in her car, watching the city lights shimmer on the water. Every reflection looked like another version of their past. The rhythm of her wipers matched her heartbeat, unsteady, searching. Ayo's voice returned through the speaker, softer now. You're still near the bridge, aren't you? How do you know? Because that's where everything ends or begins. She smiled through tears. You always loved dramatic lines. Maybe I just love you, he said quietly, then froze, realizing the words had escaped. On her end, silence again. But it wasn't rejection, it was breathing, trembling, believing. Flashbacks moved through them both like lightning. Her father's sharp stare when Ayo first came to visit. Her mother's quiet smile that had said be kind to my daughter. Their long walks through Yoruba market, sharing roasted corn, stealing time from the noise of life. And then, that fight. Words that should never have been spoken. Ayo's pride, Teni's pain. She walks away beneath a sunset that refused to forgive. Now, rain replaced that sun. Teni, he said, where are you? Still near the bridge. Wait for me. She hesitated. Why? Because I can't end this on a phone call. Ayo started walking, rain drenching him as he crossed street after street. He passed the same corners they once claimed as theirs, the cafe, the roadside stall, the faded mural they took a picture beside. Each step hurt like memory underfoot. At the bridge, wind tugged at his shirt, cold against his skin. He stopped, breathing hard. Then headlights pierced through the rain, her car. Inside, Teni's hands gripped the steering wheel tight. She could see him ahead, blurred through the windshield. Her heart stuttered. Every cell screamed to turn back, yet her soul stayed. She opened the door. Umbrella in hand, she stepped out, rain dripping down her face. Ayo stood still, watching her cross the distance between them, every step slow, deliberate, trembling. When she finally reached him, the world seemed to fall quiet. I shouldn't have left, she said, voice barely louder than the rain. You never really did, he replied. A small, sad smile curved her lips. Lightning flashed, and for a heartbeat, they were young again, laughing in golden light, dancing barefoot in their first apartment, promising forever. Then the thunder rolled, and the vision shattered. The umbrella slipped from her hand. They didn't move to pick it up. He reached out, fingertips on her cheek. She closed her eyes, leaning into his touch. And then she broke, sobbing quietly into his chest. His arms closed around her, desperate and gentle. Rain soaked them through, but neither cared. The bridge became their confessional, the city their witness. Headlights appeared suddenly. A car slowed nearby. Leke. He stepped out into the rain, face hard, voice trembling. You shouldn't be here, Teni. She froze. Ayo turned, tension burning in his shoulders. Leke, not now. You think this helps her? Leke's voice cracked. She spent months trying to heal, and you drag her back into the storm. Teni shook her head. Please, stop. But the two men stood locked, drenched and silent, until Ayo spoke. I didn't come to break her, he said softly. I came to let her go, properly this time. That silence that followed said more than any defense could. Leke's anger faded into something tired. He nodded once, turned, and left. His car lights melted into the rain until there was only darkness again. Teni and Ayo stood where they were, breathing hard, the storm beginning to ease. The city lights shimmered on the river below, the sound of water now soft, almost kind. Why does goodbye always feel like love? She whispered. Because it used to be, he said. She smiled faintly, that familiar, heartbreaking smile. Promise me you'll be happy. He nodded. Only if you do the same. The rain thinned to mist. Dawn stretched over the horizon, painting the wet bridge gold. Teni turned away first, walking slowly toward her car. Each step echoed like a heartbeat pulling away. She stopped halfway, looked back once. He was still there, standing in the new light, soaked and still. She gave a small nod, a silent thank you. Then she drove off, headlights fading into morning. Ayo stayed until the sun broke through. He looked at the bracelet in his hand, the same one that had started it all. He smiled, faint, honest, and slipped it into his pocket. The storm was gone. The city woke beneath warm colors. He walked away from the bridge, each step lighter than the last. Behind him, the river carried reflections away like secrets. Ahead, the world glowed with new beginnings. Because sometimes love doesn't end. It just finds a quieter place to rest. Please like, share, subscribe to this channel and follow for more interesting stories. Also hit the notification button to get notified each time I drop a new video for you. Thanks for watching.